a date last night, let me tell you about it. Chatting to this guy for a while, and it was kind of every time we'd try and meet, something would come up and it would get cancelled, and it was just all getting all too hard to find a time and a place to meet. So he invited me to his house to cook me a steak for dinner. I know, I agreed to go to his house. Anyhow, I go to his house and his lawn hasn't been mowed for like 6 months. It's like a jungle. Red flag. So I proceed. I knock on the front door and he comes to the door and he says, "Hang on, just let me put a shirt on." I'm like, "You had all day to get dressed." So he leaves me at the front door in the freezing cold while he goes and puts a shirt on. Red flag. Then I go inside the house, we do the awkward hello, and I walk through the hallway, and his smoke alarm is just dangling from the ceiling with no battery in it. And I walk further down the hallway and his other smoke alarm's dangling from the ceiling. Red flag. First of all, you can't mow your lawn, you can't get dressed on time, and you can't even put a battery in your smoke alarm. This is not going to work. Won't be seeing him again.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor The Fiend back again with another response video, and on today's episode we are going to be talking about some single mothers who have been finessed by men, and we're going to be kicking off this episode by taking a listen to this woman right here. Now, despite being 30 plus years of age, a lot of them still think that they have the time and refuse to let go of the bad boys who give them the runaround. But guys, before we jump into today's episode, make sure that you subscribe on your way in, and don't forget to subscribe to our newest member of Fiend Gang, Detective Warg. Guys, he's going to be pumping out daily content for you guys, so if you enjoy his stuff, make sure that you go and give him a subscribe. His link, as always, will be in the video description. But without further ado, you guys probably heard this in the intro. I don't think I've heard this one yet, so let's take a listen and break it down together. Remember to leave your thoughts and your comments as well.
So I went on a date last night, let me tell you about it. Chatting to this guy for a while, and it was kind of every time we'd try and meet, something would come up and it would get cancelled, and it was just all getting all too hard to find a time and a place to meet. So he invited me to his house to cook me a steak for dinner.
Okay, let's pause it right here. Okay, these girls will insist that, you know, dudes are out here and they're just like, they're playing games. So I didn't realize he was a player. Right? I didn't realize he was going to waste my time. I didn't realize he wasn't going to take me seriously. Okay? But you don't go out for a date at all. You go straight over to his house for the first time to hang out, and he's going to cook you some steak. Okay? So you, rather than go out on a date and try and secure commitment up front, you're going to go to a man's house for the first time. And now, I don't know, I haven't seen the video, if she's going to sit here and complain to us about him not taking her seriously or some crap like that. But right off the bat, she should already know that maybe if you're trying to look for a serious relationship, you shouldn't just go over straight to a dude's house.
I know, I agreed to go to his house. Anyhow, I go to his house and his lawn hasn't been mowed for like 6 months. It's like a jungle. Red flag. So I proceed. I knock on the front door and he comes to the door and he says, "Hang on, just let me put a shirt on." Like, you had all day to get dressed.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, because when women get to this age, they get treated how like men get treated. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dude will just go, "Oh yeah, okay, you're here. Yeah, I'll put on a shirt and I'll get changed and you can come on inside," or something like that. You get treated like a second-class citizen. You get treated like someone who's just rocking by to have some fun with. Okay, and that's what happens when girls get to this age, guys, is they lose their ability to be able to manipulate a lot of men, to be able to rock up and have dudes take them on dates and have guys take them seriously. Okay, because when they're in their 20s and when they're not here as single mothers, a lot of guys would be happy to take her out on a date, would be happy to go and do all of these things. Okay, but why on earth would a guy come out here and voluntarily take a single mother seriously? Like, that's the question that they never seem to ask themselves, guys, is they get frustrated when they go over to dudes' houses to first meet them, and then they're upset like the rest of it wasn't just going to play its way out, like he didn't actually care about you. It's like, of course he doesn't value you. Of course he doesn't particularly want something serious. Of course he doesn't care how you perceive him, because you're a single mother to him. You see what I'm saying? Like, you are just another option that he has. Yeah, you can come round, you can have a steak or something like that, but he's not going to get dressed up and do all of these things for a girl who quite literally has a child and is 30 plus years of age.
So he leaves me at the front door in the freezing cold while he goes and puts a shirt on. Red flag. Then I go inside the house, we do the awkward hello, and walk through the hallway, and his smoke alarm is just dangling from the ceiling with no battery in it. And I walk further down the hallway, and his other smoke alarm's dangling from the ceiling. Red flag. First of all, you can't mow your lawn, you can't get dressed on time, and you can't even put a battery in your smoke alarm. This is not going to work. Won't be seeing him again.
You know how you avoid this situation? Is one... Okay, first of all, just don't go to a dude's house on the first date, okay, at all. But like, again, guys, this is why I've said a lot of the times that if you're a man and you're out there dating, a lot of the girls that you come across, they've been to dudes' houses on the first time. You know, like these girls in their 20s who are like, oh, yeah, my body counts 3 or whatever. A lot of them have been to a dude's house on the first date. So a lot of dudes are figuring, okay, well, why would I put in the effort? Why would I take a girl out to a date? Why would I take her seriously, especially if she's a single mother, when I can just invite her over? Like, girls have done this beautiful thing, guys. They are so strong and empowered. It brings a tear to my little animated eye, okay? They've done this thing where they think it's strong and empowering to go out there and just get with random dudes, okay? But now they start to have issues when they get to 30 plus years of age and the dudes that they're choosing from don't mow their lawns, can't be, you know, maybe just got their smoke detectors checked or some crap like that, okay? But the thing you've also got to consider for a moment here, by the way, is this woman has made multiple attempts to set up and to see this guy. So perhaps he's quite attractive or something like that, guys, because she's gone through multiple steps, or maybe it's just the desperation sinking in kind of thing, but she's tried multiple times. And this is why we say, guys, if you're out here and you're a guy who's choosing to date, don't have these big long ass conversations with women, because a lot of them, they'll run away with the conversation, they'll take the free validation, they'll take the free attention, but they won't ever set up anything. But if a girl's interested in you, she'll make multiple attempts to do it. Okay, but let's continue into the next video, guys, because if you thought the train wreck of single mother dating was done there, no, guys, it absolutely is not. There is a whole hashtag on TikTok dedicated. What's the hashtag of this one? Hashtag dating story, hashtag dating red flags, hashtag single forever. Blah, blah, blah. Let's have a look at some of these comments, actually, before we continue into the next video to see how people are perceiving this video. So we have Jamie up the top here. Jamie Suzanne. That's unfortunate. Red flag was the invite to his home for steak. Yeah, and you know what? This is a red flag, right? It shows that the dude's probably not interested in you on any sort of commitment level, and yet she still went to the house and still complains about it. Rob Jones here says, what are with these people having like 2 first names consecutively? Rob Jones here says, by the time you had walked in the door, you had complained about 3 things. Red flag. Well said, Rob Jones. Well said, my man. Life at 100 here says, sounds like you were there to do a rent inspection or a property valuation. Tazana, I refuse to believe this is a real name. Tazana Zana here says, 3 laughing emojis in a row. I wouldn't have even knock on the door. So she's dyslexic, maybe she spelled her name wrong. Hashtag it's the lawn for me. This woman put, in a single sentence, she put 9 laughing emojis and a hashtag. Wow, that's society right there, isn't it? Simon here says, how was the steak? Renee said, he nailed that bit, not me, the steak. I see. You see, this is the kind of crap where it's like, you just didn't have to mention this, because now it seems like, of course he did, right? Like, it's interesting to me how girls will be like, I'm a princess, right? I don't do any of that sort of stuff. And then they will voluntarily bring up information that nobody asked about anyway. It just makes you look as though you did the thing that you're trying not to say that you did in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, do they even think about it for more than 2 seconds, man? C here says, first date, a coffee, beverage, walk in the park, easy escape. If she takes 30 seconds or more to order, red flag. Facts from C here. Helen here, I haven't even read Helen's comment, but you could just tell it's going to be a good one. I would have left at being left at the front door in the cold. You tell him, Helen, you raise those standards, my man. Nope, the lawn did me. Jay here says left at the door, walk away, mate. Paul says perfect no-go zone. Australian AU says definitely red flags, but what was the rest of your date like? Was the steak good? What was his bathroom like? Tell us more, please. These people are weird, man. These people are just absolutely so weird. But let's continue into the next video here, guys. And we have some more lined up. So let's take a listen to what this woman has to say. And of course, she is a single mother as well. She's out here throwing on the hashtags on her video, such as hashtag dating life and hashtag single. Let's take a listen.
Recently, I stopped talking to a guy because I realized that he never asked me about myself. I'm trying to be better about red flags. So when I realized that he was doing a lot of telling me about him and not asking me about me, I stopped talking to him. Well, today, after like a week of not talking, I randomly got a message from him asking me how my week. So I was telling my daughter that I was trying to figure out what to say, and I think I'm gonna respond and just say, you know, like, good, how was yours? She told me this wasn't a good response. So what do you think my response should be?
You should tell him in detail how your week was and don't ask how his was. Just like,
I feel like I've taught her well, right? Like, good strategy. Dating advice from an almost 12-year-old.
So let's talk about this for a second, okay? So I look at these videos, and if a girl sits here and says, you know what, that's some good dating advice, and then you look at the woman's relationship status and it goes something like single mother, chances are the dating advice is not good, okay? There's a chance that it is, all right? But like, regardless of whether the advice is good or not in itself, don't be out here giving dating advice when you're unsuccessful at dating. It makes absolutely no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? That's like a dude coming out here and he's like, you know what? This is how you get laid, but I've been with like 2 women in my life, right? It's the same thing as a girl coming out here being like, you know what? I know what I deserve. I know about relationships. I'm a dating coach, and they have no husband. They have no long-term relationship. They're a single mother. They're over the age of 30 and they're still single. Okay, they're running a roster of men at age 35. You name any of these things, they're like the breadwinner who treats their husband like crap and cheats on him. Any of these sorts of things, guys, it's like, I don't care how objectively good your dating advice is. The fact of the matter is that you shouldn't even be touching this stuff anyway. You know what I'm saying? It makes absolutely no sense. So let's run through this, right? So she was talking to a dude and she stopped talking to the dude because he never asked her about herself. Okay, so he doesn't care. He doesn't care. This is the thing that girls just don't seem to get through their head, because she didn't block him or anything like that. He reached out again, and look at her, right? All in her feelings, wanting to reach out to him again and reply and do all this kind of crap. But there's a reason why dudes treat girls like this, is because why the hell would a lot of dudes bother? Like, why would a guy come along, put in all this effort into a 30-plus-year-old single mother? Like, for what? For absolutely what? But notice how the door is still open for this guy, by the way. Like, the door is still open for the guy. Chances are she's still interested in him, whatever the case may be. I personally think that she would have messaged him within the week, but that's just me. So let's cut in again to what the daughter says here. If I can unmute the thing.
She told me this wasn't a good response. So what do you think my response should be?
you should tell him in detail how your week was and don't ask how his was.
Let's pause there. Let's wind the clock forward 10 years to when the daughter is 22 years of age. Can you guys imagine, like, how much the entitlement, because what happens when girls get to this age, right, is they get the entitlement and they start to think, you know what, I'm deserving of conversation, I'm deserving of this, I'm deserving of that. Men have always treated me terribly. What I need to do is I need to set my standards nice and high. But you know what, that girl, when she rocks around to 22 years of age and she's setting her standards super high, man, it's going to get worse over time. Dudes are going to look at her standards and go, you know what, no, I'm good. I think I'm going to deal with Stacy over here, who's 21, who doesn't have all of these standards and hoops that I have to jump through and little bullcrap conversation loops that I have to perform for you. And I'm just going to go with Stacy because she's fun and she doesn't give me a hard time. A lot of girls, excuse me if you can hear the Discord sounds there, guys. A lot of girls, they will price each other out of the market. That's why, like, girls will SL shame each other and they'll insult each other's appearances and go after their reputation more than men will. right? But the thing is, guys, is by doing all of this crap, by going out there, being a boss babe, having these, waiting too long to have these standards, they effectively devalue all of women at once, right? Womanism doesn't just hurt the dude. Womanism is great for men who are looking for casual stuff, okay? But it really harms the girls who are looking to be taken seriously in any capacity. Let's continue.
Just like,
I feel like I've taught her well, right? Like, good strategy, good strategy. Dating advice from an almost 12-year-old.
Yeah, fantastic. And you know what? The one thing I will say as well is that that 12-year-old's probably going to grow up to be 22 and whatever. And again, she's going to be an absolute headache to deal with. Like, you could just already tell the recipe, guys. If you are a child and you're being raised by a single mother or a father and you have the choice, you would take the single father absolutely any day of the week, guys. Now, let's continue into the next video here. I believe this is our last one. Then we're going to get into a couple of points that I wanted to talk to you gentlemen about that I have listed. And we're going to be talking about why women ignore red flags. But before we get into that, let's jump into this last video here. And it says, you guys can't see the top, but it says, you'll have regrets about your divorce when no one wants to date a single mother. So apparently this woman is divorced. She's a divorced single mother. Let's take a listen.
A day in the life of a sad single mom. First, I wake up in my big queen bed without anyone poking me with their frisky eggplant. I make my way to the washroom where the toilet seat is down, and I have to sit on a seat that's not covered in urine splashes. I head to the kitchen for my coffee, and I notice there's still coffee left because I was the last one to use it. I head to my nice clean fridge where I find a full container of creamer. I then water my plants and think about buying another one because there's no one to tell me I have too many. After my coffee, I brush my teeth in a sink that has no beard trimmings. I then open my cupboard and admire all of my perfectly labeled jars where no one can tell me how ridiculous it is to put already packaged things in glass containers. It's a sad life, I know, but maybe one day, if I'm super lucky, I can have a third adult child to take care of all on my own.
So absolutely fantastic, guys. The misandry in the video, assuming that men can't not pee on toilet seats and the like. But you know, misandry aside, guys, because that's obviously completely fine to play on the internet, right? Sounds like a whole lot of cope to me. Right, and here's the thing, okay? If this woman is totally happy, she's just chilling, right? She doesn't need a husband or a boyfriend or whatever, and she's going through her divorce, and you know she doesn't need no man. Okay, sure. But a lot of these situations, guys, let's just call it for what it is. It's absolute cope. A lot of them will say, "I don't need no man. I don't care if I have nobody," and they'll be crying themselves to sleep because they're alone and they're 30 plus years of age, and men won't take them seriously. And also, I want to mention here, guys, just how big of a red flag are tattoos like this. So I don't know if you guys can see this here. All right, I'm going to move my character a little bit off screen so you guys can see. You know, tattoos like this one right here, and this, where they're like spaced apart and they're like up their arms and stuff like that, guys, I tell you, these are just the most huge red flags of all time. These are the signal that a woman has been indoctrinated full force into womanism, essentially, and this crap kind of grows until it looks like a sleeve that's essentially like a school desk that's been scribbled on. But as you can see, guys, just like the thing is, if she's happy, cool. But I tend to doubt it, to be honest with you. And this is again why you as a dude, you shouldn't go out here getting married, guys, is because a lot of women, they just divorce a guy when they don't have feelings anymore. When that oxytocin, that dopamine starts to run out, you're not as exciting anymore. Maybe she was only after you for resources, any number of things. She can just go, oh, you know what? Irreconcilable differences, and then all of a sudden she's got your queen bed and all of that kind of stuff. But guys, let's jump into today's topic here, which I wanted to talk to you about, and then perhaps a couple of Reddit stories if I have time before I have to head out today. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is why a lot of modern women ignore red flags, okay? Because we see all of the videos, the girls complaining like, oh, his grass is too long, that's a red flag. His smoke detectors don't work or are dangling from the ceiling, that's a red flag. Cool, right? All the women out here, they're so willing to point out red flags. They can spot red flags from a mile away. They see this one, that one, okay? They bring them up all of the damn time. But somehow, gentlemen, through the magic, through the wonders of the universe, all of these girls seem to end up with men who, in retrospect to them, had a whole bunch of red flags, okay? But let's talk about why these women ignore these red flags. And I'm just going to list the first thing right here, guys, and that is because the dude is attractive. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen in my life a guy who is clearly quite sociopathic, or a guy who just doesn't care about a girl at all, treats her like garbage. You'll have women who will stick to that man like glue because he's attractive, or by virtue of the fact that he doesn't care about them. Okay, so the dude being attractive can get away with a lot of things that, say, for example, an unattractive man can't. So if a guy who's super attractive to a woman cancels a date last minute, or just doesn't see her, stops talking to her for 3 days, like we had a woman, I think it was on last video, no, it was, I don't know if it was this video, maybe last video, a woman was sitting there complaining like, oh, he didn't message in 1 to 2 days, so I'm going to ghost him now. If the guy is attractive enough to the woman, she's going to sit by the phone for a damn week waiting for that guy to message back. Okay, now is it a red flag that he doesn't message? Is it a red flag that he doesn't care about her, that he's XYZ? Of course, but she chooses to ignore these things because the dude is attractive. Like, how many times have you guys talked to a woman and she'll bring up her boyfriend or something like that, and she will outline the negative things about him? Like, she will complain like, oh, he doesn't pay enough attention to me, he doesn't treat me well enough, he doesn't take me on enough dates, he ruins my self-esteem, he doesn't compliment me enough, he tells other girls they're beautiful, he follows other girls on Instagram but he doesn't like my photos. All of these kind of things, like, these are really commonplace attributes that a girl will sit down and she'll try and complain with you about her current boyfriend or her ex-boyfriend or something like that, despite the fact that she remains with him, despite the fact that she could have seen all of these things a mile away, and yet she chose to be in the relationship anyway. And one of the reasons why they do that, guys, is because oftentimes they find the dude attractive. Now, this is something that confuses a lot of people as well, is like, a lot of girls have quite subjective attraction to dudes. So like, we might look at, let's just say you and I, right? We were going around walking and we saw like this couple, and we go, oh, well, that dude doesn't have any muscles, or he doesn't seem to have a lot of money or anything like that. A lot of women will go after dudes who match their particular style and stuff like that. So it might not just be like, oh, he doesn't necessarily have to have muscles. It's just like the niche, I suppose you would say. But the point is that the dude is attractive. A lot of women will ignore red flags for a man that they find to be highly attractive. So the next point here, why a lot of women ignore red flags, and this is a bit of a silly one here, is because they are attracted to said red flags. Okay, so I brought up a little bit before, just a couple of seconds ago, right, where a lot of women will look at a guy and say, oh, he doesn't pay me enough attention. Excuse me. He doesn't pay me enough attention. He doesn't validate me. He doesn't compliment me, whatever the case may be, okay? But the thing that everyone seems to miss is that a lot of these women are with these men because they don't validate the girl, because they don't pedestalize her, because they don't treat her like a princess, right? By virtue of the fact that these quote-unquote red flags, which, how funny is it, by the way, that it's considered a red flag when a man doesn't validate a woman? Like, dudes don't get validated at all. You'd be lucky as a man to go out here and get like one compliment a week or some crap like that, okay? But apparently it's considered a red flag if we as men don't call girls beautiful or pretty or all of this kind of crap. It's absolutely insane to me, okay? But the truth of the matter is, guys, is that oftentimes when dudes go out here and validate women, and they say, even these like single mothers who we covered at the start of today's video, right? If you go up to them and despite the fact that they may really need a man in their life, if you're out here validating them and treating them like a princess and all that crap, a lot of them will be repulsed by it. And truthfully, a lot of them know, like, they have a lot of these girls have so much insecurities, man, that like, if you call them beautiful, they need to hear it because they're so damn insecure. But the problem is, if a dude says it, they don't, like, it comes across as inauthentic, and they can take the validation and then run away from that particular situation, because now she's got the validation out of that dude, she can continue on to the next one. It's really kind of messed up, guys, but that's the way it works. And unfortunately, a lot of women, despite the fact that they complain about the red flags, are actually attracted to them. And if a dude didn't have those quote-unquote red flags, a lot of the times she wouldn't even be there to begin with. But the next reason why a lot of modern women ignore red flags is because they ignore them to get back at somebody like an ex or a father or something like that, where you know, maybe she goes out with a dude simply to spite someone else. So that can also be like a girlfriend or an ex-girlfriend, not a girlfriend, but like a girlfriend of hers. A lot of women will try and get with a dude or try and get with someone who's unsuitable and who displays a lot of red flags just to piss somebody else off. And usually this is an ex-boyfriend or something like that. Or a lot of them are drawn to these guys ahead of times. Like, there's been a lot of men who I'm sure can relate to having a girlfriend and then like a relationship ends or something like that, and then your girl will go to your friend or something like that and try and get with him. And part of the reason they do that is to piss you off, and part of the reason is also maybe you've talked positively about the dude and they want the validation from that guy. Whatever the case may be, a lot of the girls will ignore red flags just to get back at somebody like an ex or like a father or something like that. So if a father comes along and says to his daughter, who's like 18 or some crap, or 19, whatever, you can't date this particular sort of guy, chances are she'll go out there and she'll seek that particular sort of guy. But the last reason I have here why a lot of modern women ignore red flags, and this actually, I would say, continues on to not modern women necessarily, but also Eastern women and stuff like that as well, actually, is they need resources from him. Okay, so if a guy is going to be a good cash cow, if he's going to be a potential husband who's going to be lined up for her to take the house from and stuff like that, what she can do is she can now choose to ignore his red flags until such time as she gets the resources from him. And you'll see this all the time. Okay, I've seen a lot of situations where a wife will stick around for a little bit so that she can get her time up with the husband in order to take him into court, so she has some more backing behind her, so to speak, right? But she'll stay with the husband for a while, even though she knows he's cheating, or even though she knows that he's got a whole bunch of red flags, because she knows if she can rack up some more time, the chances of her getting more assets are a lot higher and stuff like this. Now, obviously, this isn't every girl in every marriage or anything like that, guys, but a lot of women will ignore red flags if a man has the resources as well. This happens in Eastern countries and stuff like that, or like Southeast Asian, whatever. A lot of guys will go over there and they might have a lot of money, but maybe they're not the best people and stuff like that. Not saying that if you've gone there, you're a bad person, but a lot of dudes might go there, have their red flags, and then girls will simply ignore it simply because the guy is a way out for them. But guys, let's jump into a couple of Reddit stories, and then we will wrap up today's episode. And like I said, my character has stopped working for some reason, but let's jump into one or two of these Reddit stories, and then we're going to wrap up today's episode. So let's pull this one up here. Titled, "My 26-year-old male girlfriend, who is a 22-year-old female of 4 years, kissed a much older co-worker that she had a crush on. My girlfriend and I have been dating for 4 years and a few months, love this girl to death, and thought we would spend the rest of our lives together. Came home today to a written list of things that I've been doing that make her feel unfulfilled and lonely. She has mentioned these things in the past, the feelings. I've been distant recently because I've been down in the dumps about a back injury that prevented me from physical activity. Also playing video games for hours on end and just not being emotionally there. I also neglected chores more often, which I had been pretty good about doing. She's reading off the paper and gets to the last point. She tells me to listen to her fully and to not get angry, but that if I'm angry and never want to see her again, she understands. My gut drops. I know how this goes. Her co-worker, who is in his 40s or 50s, has been crushing on her, and she admitted that she had a crush too, but it wasn't anything because they're co-workers and he's much older. Wrong. They had a pool day for their office and she stayed there all day from 12 till 12. It was at the guy's house and everyone left and it was just them two. She goes to leave and they stop at the door. He goes in for a kiss and she lets it happen. Not just lets it happen, but she leans into it and grabs his neck while he's grabbing her waist. No idea how long, but she eventually says that this is wrong and leaves to come home. I was at a trade show for work all day, so I'm asleep, but then had been texting her while she was there saying, hope you're having a good time. I love you. I'll see you at home. This happened June 25th, and she told me today, July 5th, after we got back from a vacation in Denver. She didn't want to spoil the trip. She's claiming responsibility for it, but also blaming it on being drunk and intoxicated, as well as saying it was because I made her feel lonely and this guy gave her attention. We have a year left on our lease and 2 cats who are like children to me, and I still love her. I want to work it out, but I also also feel like maybe I can't trust her, and maybe she truly wants out but doesn't have the guts to tell me. I'm lost, but this woman is my best friend. I don't know how to live without her. So let's talk about this for a second, okay? The girlfriend clearly cheated on him, and let's be honest, it goes a bit deeper than a kiss. They didn't just kiss and leave it there. And also, she planned this entire thing. That's why she was there from 12 till 12 and chose to leave last so that everybody had already gone. Like, all of this stuff is just so convenient, guys. Whenever dudes come to stories like this, like, oh, my girlfriend cheated by kissing a guy, but she said that they didn't do anything else. It's like, who the hell cares? Just get her out. She knew what was going to happen. Oftentimes they set it up themselves ahead of time. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But let's read some of these comments here. Well here says, so you're saying that instead of her wanting to help you through your back injury, she rather write a list of things you're not doing that she's unhappy about, and when she gets unhappy, she decides to go around kissing co-workers? Hell no. Prince Sava here says, yeah, they had bedroom fun. Sorry, dude, but I think that's the best for you now. What's best for you now is to be alone and move on. The trust is broken. So instead of talking to you about this and find a solution as a couple, decided to F the other guy, and then had a happy trip just to after that say it was all your fault and be better, but if you want out, sure. Nah. And I agree with Prince here, to be honest with you guys. Like, if a girl pulls this kind of crap, just leave the relationship immediately. But guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, remember to leave your thoughts and your comments. Don't forget to subscribe to Detective War, guys. I'm going to get my editor to put up a graphic of his channel right now. His link will be in the description. He's pumping out daily content for you gentlemen, slowly improving over time, because Lord knows I'm pulling out my hair listening to this garbage alone by myself. But guys, we're going to be leaving it there. Make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace. Yo, what is going on, guys? Past Taylor here. We are currently looking to expand fiendish content creation behind the scenes, so if you are interested in becoming a content creator alongside me, be sure to check out the application form at the very bottom of the video description. This is for those of you who are interested in becoming a part of the content that you see here on YouTube, so if you're interested in applying, make sure to get in quick. People who apply first will have priority for consideration. Again, the link is at the very bottom of the video description. Lastly, if you guys are interested in supporting the channel, there are links to both Patreon and locals below the video, guys. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to the supporters on those two platforms. You guys allow me to make these episodes, and your support is greatly appreciated. As always, guys, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I will catch you later for real this time, guys. Peace.